everyone that's either looking for their next position or kind of thinking about what could be next. And so we are super excited about this. If you could all open up your chat box and take a look, you can see how we're all chatting with each other. And what I'd love for you to do is drop in the chat. First of all, we'll see your name, but tell us where you're calling from. Tell us your industry and job that you're searching for. And if you're in finance, if you're in HR, if you're in sales, whatever your industry is, drop that in, because I think you're going to be very surprised today by the industry that we are featuring and how many other industries fit right into it. So drop in where you're calling in from, your industry, and then we'd also love for you to drop in your LinkedIn URL. We are essentially a networking group that tries to connect people to great careers. And because we're not doing that in person right now, one of the best ways we can do that is through LinkedIn. So if you have a LinkedIn profile, just jump on out to LinkedIn, open up the browser, linkedin.com, and then you'll see your picture, or what should be your picture. Click on that, and then the URL will be right in the top bar. And so copy that URL. It'll have an HTTPS in front of it, and that's what you drop in the chat box. So drop that in so we can start connecting with each other and connect with people on LinkedIn, but also ask questions in the chat this morning. Ask questions, connect. You can ask direct questions, which are kind of like private direct messages to one person. You can just drop a full question and or a comment, and we will be watching those today. Our speakers will be answering those today. And so make sure that you are engaging in the chat. Thank you, Josh. Queen Creek Manufacturing HR area, and he dropped his clickable LinkedIn URL. Perfect example of what we're looking for. Also, we are not sending out the PowerPoint today, but we will be posting this on our website. So the full event, we have a blogger that is furiously blogging today. And so that person, we will have them finish up the blog and get that also posted. So you can either watch the full event or portions of the event from our website, or read the blog if you'd like to follow up with information. If you're not on video, we would love to see your beautiful faces on video. So just open up your picture and just unclick the stop video, and that will start your video. So I understand some of you are not comfortable, but we'd love, love, love to see your faces today. All right, if you don't see the chat box, it should be on the bottom of your screen. Or if you're on an iPhone or an Android or something on your cell phone, there's usually three little dots. You can click on that, and then you'll see a chat box. Also, that one, what else was I gonna say? Oh, the video should be down there as well. You can also rename your name. So we would love it if you made sure the name that you had that's showing on this call is actually your name. And so there's a rename option in those three dots as well. All right. Sheila, let me throw it over to you for any tech stuff. Anything else you want to go over?
Okay, I think you covered it pretty well, except just as a reminder that we'll have breakout rooms at the end of our event that almost all of our speakers can stay, and you'll have a chance to talk to them in small groups in those breakout rooms. And then the last thing was closed captioning. If anyone is in need of closed captioning today, we have that available. I'll put this URL in the chat when I'm done here, but you can also just point your phone at the QR code and get that started. It'll open in a separate browser window, but then you can follow along the conversation. Thanks.
Awesome. All right. Well, you guys are doing a great job dropping in all of your contact information here. And again, I encourage each of you to connect with each other's LinkedIn profile and make sure you're following up, make sure you're engaging, asking questions. We have 8 awesome speakers today that are here to talk to you and are here to be featured to a great growing industry. And so what I would like to do first, is introduce the Phoenix Chamber Foundation is actually, and Build Your Future is actually the organization that work to pull this all together. And so they have an initiative to get this information out to our community about the growing and the need. And so I'd like to introduce you all to Paul Sanders. He is the Workforce Development Director for Build Your Future. So Paul, you have a couple things you'd like to say to kick us off?
I'd love to, Jessica. Thank you so much. We are thrilled to be able to partner with Career Connectors. And to tell you a little bit about Build Your Future, and just as the webinar title talks about busting the myths in regard to construction, that is really a primary goal. A few years ago, the Greater Phoenix Chamber Foundation, they had been organizing workforce collaboratives. And they had a construction collaborative, which was really talking about the impact that construction has on the state's economy, as well as the local area economy. And they were really talking about initiatives and challenges that that industry was facing. And a couple of our panelists had actually participated in that collaborative. And they came to a decision that they really needed to try to get the word out about careers and build their talent pipeline. Research had shown at that time that there was a need for 155,000 skilled craft professionals and construction related jobs through 2022. More recent data that just came out has bumped that all the way up to 204,000 due to the growth that we experience in our state, as well as the parts of the industry that will be retiring and leaving. Workforce demand is just extreme. And this collaborative said that we needed to really develop some sort of an initiative to get the word out about it. First off, a three-pronged one to change image, right, of construction, that it's a dead-end job, or that it's a job that somebody goes to if they can't make their SAT scores or what have you. The other one was to really help change that image with parents so that they could help their young people recognize the career opportunities that were there. We wanted to make, in the second effort of that, was to make aware the income, right, that's able to be made. On average, a person in the skilled craft profession in construction will make $5,000 more annually than what most four-year college degrees will pay on their first entry-level job. And then, of course, the next one was really about connecting them with training. How do we get them the right training that's necessary so that they can enter that workforce? And ultimately, the overall goal is to build that talent pipeline. So we've been a year and a half into this program now and have really created a lot of resources that are there. We've developed a career center that's got job postings with it. And our hope today is that with these panels that we're able to kind of help increase your awareness, help you to see that whatever you may have been doing can be very well transferred into the construction industry. And for those who may be looking to start something completely new and different in regard to a skilled craft, because it's not all about just getting dirty, right? Or digging ditches, and that it's not all about the 120-degree temperatures, which is all the negative things people tend to think about. So we're hoping to help dispel those myths and really open up the eyes of you that are attending to great opportunities.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Paul. Thank you for reaching out. Just as a side note, y'all, Paul is a really stellar servant in our community. He actually served on the Career Connectors board for a couple years and really helped us in our formation phase. So we really appreciate the relationship we have with you, Paul.
Thank you, Jessica. I love working with your group.
All right, so I'd like to introduce 4 people right now. I'd like to introduce Sean Ray. He is the Director of Craft Workforce Development for Sunt Construction. Dan Puente, he is the founder and CEO of DP Electric. Michelle Walker is the VP of Finance and Administration for SSC Underground. And Justin Hankner, he is the Regional HR Manager for Border States. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you.
We are so glad to have you all here. And what I would like for us to do to get started is for each of you to take a minute or two and just kind of give an overview of your company, but tell us, I think something to start this off is really tell us what you like best about the culture of your organization. So who'd like to start today?
I'll jump in first.
Great, Sean.
So as Jessica said, my name is Sean Ray. I'm the Director of Craft Workforce Development for Sunt Construction. SUNS was established in 1890, so we're going on, I guess, 136 years now. We work throughout the Southwest. We have offices in Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and California. And as far as the culture, I still feel as big as SUNT has gotten, there's still a family feel to it, and they care about the people, and that's what drove me to them.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you, Sean. Dan, how about you?
Certainly. I founded DP Electric 30 years ago out of my garage. We've slowly have grown throughout the past 30 years. And currently we employ about 350 people. We're a commercial electrical contractor, and we do work throughout the state of Arizona. And I think the thing that I enjoy most about the electrical contracting industry is the opportunities and the people. I feel strongly that this industry has so many different vehicles for opportunity and growth, and the people that we work with day in and day out are just really good, down-to-earth people. It's just a very great environment.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Michelle.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, Michelle Walker. I'm with SSC Underground, and we're an underground utility subcontractor based here in Phoenix. We work primarily in Arizona, but across the Southwest states as needed. And I have SSC is a 51-year-old company. So we're usually the old people on the block, and then you invite Sean to the group and he blows us all out of the water. But and I've been here for 23 years. So I think one of the things that I like most about our culture is really just the longevity of our workforce in an industry that can have a lot of kind of transiency and movement among companies. I think it says a lot for the companies that have people who have been on board for 5, 10, 15, 20 years and really make a career. I think that's who's represented here on this panel today. And I think that as we can encourage more of that type of culture across the industry and really create opportunities where people have the opportunities to learn, grow, develop, not just get stuck in kind of the same role, we can create more of those kind of career long-term stories that will really incentivize and motivate more people to join the industry.
Absolutely. I think that's a misconception that we need to address today. Is there is longevity in this industry, and there are career pathways, which we're going to touch on later. Thanks, Michelle. Justin, how about you?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thanks. Justin Hangner, Regional HR Manager with Border States Electric. We are one of the top 10 largest electrical distributors in the United States, and we have 100 locations between 22 states, and we touch from border to border and coast to coast. Here in Arizona, we have a location in Phoenix and Tucson here in the state. The really thing I really enjoy about Border States is we're employee owned, which there's not too many companies out there that are that way. It has some financial benefits, but I think the biggest thing is knowing that the people next to you own the company with you. So the more success they have, the more success you'll have. So it really fosters a really good culture as far as a company. It's more like a family I would compare it to than working for different companies that I've worked for in the past. So I think that's true throughout the industry too. I know the relationships we have with our vendors and our customers are the same way. It's just like a giant family. Everybody's very dedicated, knowledgeable, and really wanting to grow the construction industry. So excited to be on the panel.
Absolutely. Great. Thanks for being here. So anyone who has been, that's in Arizona right now, that's looked for a house, that has tried and built something onto their house. We did a reconstruction of our backyard just recently. You all know that the construction industry is crazy right now and growth is happening. And so why don't you guys talk to us a little bit about some of the most in-demand construction type of careers, both the skilled craft and then the professional non-skilled craft. Who would like to start with this one?
I'll jump in.
Okay.
So definitely the skilled trades are, in great demand. And I think that was a big driving factor behind starting build your future and getting these efforts going is to increase the skilled trades to be able to get the crews out onto the projects that we're all building on a daily basis. So, personally for us, it's equipment operators, it's welders, it's laborers, it's everybody who, out there and has a hand on the project. But I think as we look more broadly towards, construction as a career and the other kind of peripheral things, one of the things that a lot of us have identified is that need for training and that need for giving people that career pathway and the avenues towards learning more, growing their skills outside of just their technical skills. And so I think that trainers and curriculum writers and people that can come alongside construction companies who have that technical knowledge but aren't the experts in how do we formally educate and train people. I think that's kind of a growing area that I know we're identifying as a need, and I think many other people who want to provide those opportunities to people are seeing as definitely a definite need.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I could jump onto what Michelle was saying, 5 or 10 years ago, I think we could pinpoint the specific needs of, we need more electricians, or welders are starting to become an issue. But I'd say in today's day and age, we're struggling across the board as far as skilled craft. There's not one specific trade that is doing okay. They're all suffering. And we've got to work together, the people on this panel, the community, to start getting this training going and more robust, so we can meet the demands of, the growth of Phoenix and the surrounding area. It's not going to happen if we don't start addressing this shortage.
Yeah.
Jessica,
Good,
can I piggyback on that as well? I would say that I agree with both Sean and Michelle. In addition, our industry right now, because a lot of folks are moving to Arizona, construction is just busting out of the seams. You have Intel that just announced they're going to build two more fabs. You have the Taiwanese company that's building a fab. You have a lot of the data centers that are going in over here. You have car manufacturers that are coming here. And the fact is that we don't have enough electricians currently for the demand that we have now. And the demand is only going to increase. And so I believe that what we're trying to do is kind of provide that gap. I know a lot of folks maybe have been in different industries or thinking about construction, and we're very focused on training. One of the things that DP does is that we have an internal apprenticeship program and a training program, and we're in the process of developing a kind of a boot camp or a bridge to get folks that don't have that experience, get them trained so that they're productive, and then can roll into an apprenticeship program. And then in addition to that, most companies that have apprenticeship programs pay for that. So you get an education, you get a paycheck, and then 4 years you turn out as a journeyman electrician, and in many cases earn a lot more than someone that goes to college for 4 years.
Yeah, and I think, Dan, that is a big misconception, is that you don't make money in this industry. And so I know I didn't prep you guys for this, but I was talking to Paul, and I saw a 13% increase in salaries in the last 5 years for this industry. Would you mind talking about that for just a second?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really kind of supply and demand, to some degree, right? So what happens as an employer, we need to retain our current workforce. In addition, we need to get new workforce. And so when it is busy like this, the wages tend to go up. And so it's the kind of thing that, employees look at this and realize that, hey, the demand is so high, I may be able to get another $1 an hour, another $2 an hour, what have you. And so it's really kind of like when you're buying a house, there's a seller's market and there's a buyer's market, and right now this is an employee's market. And so it constantly improves. I mean, I remember when I got in the industry, I was running large projects as a general foreman, making $11 an hour. And now, of course, that was many, many years ago. And now You know, a starting electrician with no experience makes $15 an hour, at least at DP. And, you know, when they turn out, they generally turn out at 55 to 60. And if they're running work, it could be a six-figure salary. So there's lots of opportunity. And I will say that wage never really goes away. We went through a recession and we went through a little difficult time there, but those wages came back fairly quickly.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. I'm going to jump to that question. So about the recession. So we keep hearing, you know, this industry got hit in the 2008, 2009 recession, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the industry this time when we went through the COVID-19 pandemic. And so would any of you like to talk about that? Like, what's the difference in both the construction and the craft trades industries between those years and between these years?
I think it's the Arizona economy. We used to be basically kind of the construction industry supporting you know, it's just kind of a cycle of like construction was the industry. And so when the housing market blew up, then it affected everything. And now we're just such a broad economy, you know, all the stuff that Dan referred to with the technology coming in here, the manufacturing coming in, the distribution centers, our base is so much broader. So it's multiple industries with demands outside of Arizona, outside of even the country. You know, we're much more driven by the global economy now and so many different factors. So it's not just our industry sustaining and promoting our own industry. It's this really broad base that's driving the construction projects right now. So it's just a much more stable base. And if one area slips, that doesn't mean that we're all going to go down with it.
Yeah. I love that. I think our economic developers in Arizona have done a phenomenal job to bring in multiple industries. We learned so much from 2008 and 9 that they really took that and expanded the industries and the targets that we're bringing into Arizona. So great. Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate that. So you guys and ladies, what are some of the biggest misconceptions of your industry?
Well, I'll start with one that probably bothers me the most, and that is that, you know, there's still people who believe that construction is a last resort or option. You know, if you dropped out of high school, you couldn't get into college, like Paul said, and they view construction really as a last resort. And in reality, you know, construction requires a lot of education. If you look at buildings like the State Farm Stadium or the highways we drive on, the homes you live in, these buildings weren't built by uneducated people. They're very professional. They're very good at what they do, and it's just a different form of education at times, whether it be through, like Dan said, apprenticeship programs, internal training programs. The training, though, and the education is more of a hands-on. There's still the curriculum side of it, but not everybody can just come in and off the street and become a journeyman like Dan was talking about. There's a lot of pride in those of us who've been in the construction industry. I started in the construction industry in '93 when I got out of the military. And I'll be honest with you, it was supposed to be a job until college started. And I decided I'd put college off for a year, and then it turned into another year. And I didn't go back to school till I was 40, just because I was learning, I was growing, and the environment was amazing. So we've got to get educators and everybody on board understanding that construction needs to be treated the same way that majority of these other classes are, that it is a profession. There is dignity to it. There's a career. It's not just a job. Dan and I have talked about this numerous times. It's a career. I've had an amazing career in construction. I'm very blessed to be in construction, and we need to get the word out that you can be successful, just as Justin talked about being employee owned. Sun Construction's employee owned, and I will be doing very well at retirement based off of the construction industry.
Yeah, I think to piggyback off Sean as well, too, being employee owned, but just the career aspect of it too. We have a tremendous amount of employee owners here at Border States that have been with us for decades, which is kind of unheard of nowadays, with everybody kind of, you know, maybe 3 or 4 years looking for a different opportunity and things like that. So kind of unheard of. And to Sean's point, a lot of those people are retiring mid 50s and very successful too. So there's a lot of money to be made in this industry, especially distribution, if you're not going to be an electrician or work for Dan or Sean and things like that. So there's opportunities outside of that as well on the distributor side. And I think it was really exciting to hear too that other companies are investing in internal training to really bridge that gap of allowing people to enter the industry that might have been hesitant to begin with, and allow the employer to kind of train them up to get them up to speed where they need to be. So I think there's just a lot of optimism and need for these types of roles going in the future.
That is awesome. We're seeing a trend where people are trying to get the word out like you guys are doing, and in high schools as well, to explain to people you can go to college, you can do trades, you can do, there's a whole bunch of options. It's not just one path anymore, and those options lead to very lucrative careers, and careers that will bring you joy and that are very respectable. So yeah, thank you for that. Any other misconceptions? What about, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, Joanne Bueno had a question there. She said, a misconception about construction is that it's male dominated. How does the industry address disparate impacts or treatment of other genders in terms of recruitment, compensation, and accommodations?
Yeah. I saw a Business Journal article, it was last year, and I think it was about Banner, it might've been Dignity. It was one of our large healthcare systems. And there were 3 women executives standing there as the project managers on the project. And I just thought, yes, that message needs to get out. It is for everybody. So any thoughts on that, you guys, about the male dominated industry, and is it available to women?
It is.
I mean, I'm here. No, well, and I think, and I'm sure Dan will jump in, but I mean, we're a woman-owned company. Our owner and founder is a woman. I mean, definitely the opportunities are there. I look at Dan, I know, his daughter is kind of up and coming with him, and there's definitely women at very high levels in the industry. And then there's women out in the field doing amazing work too. And I think, I've been asked this question many times in many different things, and it's not about the gender. It's about who can get out there and do the work. And I think this goes kind of with a misconception about the industry, as well as that it's, all the guys that are out there working are really rough, tough, not nice people. It's kind of the bottom of the barrel. It's the last people that we can find. These are good quality, upstanding people. And I'm completely comfortable to work alongside any one of them. And I would put my daughter out next to any one of them too. So there's good, the quality of people in the industry is so much better than I think what media and image has painted it. And there's a lot of really good men that are more than willing to work right alongside women and respect them and give them complete dignity and just, treat them no different than any other. As long, they have to work hard and they have to, earn their respect and earn their place. It's not a free ticket, but I think that's definitely a misconception, is that there's not a place, or that they're treated differently or mistreated, or not a group of people that they would want to work in. I think that's as far from the truth as you can imagine.
Yeah, I would agree with Michelle as well. I've seen it firsthand, and there's a lot of great people out in the field, whether it's the field or the office. And I think too, as an industry, we've evolved just like anything else, right? When I was first in the industry, there wasn't as many women, and maybe it was a little bit more rough, but in today's day and age, that type of stuff is just not tolerated. And, the companies are very professional, the workforce is professional, and completely, electrician is definitely something a woman can do, whether it's in the field or gravitating to the office or project management. Actually, I think women do a much better job. They just seem to be a little more focused and detailed oriented, where guys seem to kind of flounder at times. So, of course, I have 2 daughters. So
that's right. You have to say that. 2 daughters. That's awesome. Okay, you guys. What about what was most surprising? So Michelle, I think you've said 23 years. I may have all the numbers wrong, but all of you have been in this industry for a long time. Sean, you said right out of the military. You know, Dan, you own this company. Justin, I know you've been here a long time as well. So, you know, you have made a career out of this. And so what has kept you here? What has kept you engaged and enjoying your job?
It's definitely not redundant. You know, if you think about majority of the construction projects out there, each one of them is unique. We get to see different things each and every day, but I guess what keeps me going the most, honestly, to Michelle's point earlier, is the people. You know, I've met some amazing people throughout my career, long-lasting friendships. It's a brotherhood and sisterhood, really, and you're very proud of the stuff that you see when you're driving by, and you can say, hey, I built that, I was part of that. You're able to fix your own stuff at the house a lot of times. I was a little embarrassed last week that I had to call a plumber, but I'm still working through that. But you know, I don't know that I would have been happy doing anything else, to be totally honest with you.
And I would also say the opportunities. I think in our industry, there are just so many different branches, and we have a lot of folks that have started out in the field and now are in the office doing estimating, project management, recruiting, whatever it may be. There's just so many, and then sector-wise too. There's so many different divisions. There's within electrical, there's certain disciplines you can do. Low voltage, motor control. There's just so many different opportunities and aspects and like Sean says, it's always evolving, it's always changing. You don't get bored, that's for sure.
Yeah. No doubt. All right, you guys, I'm asking you a little bit to look into your crystal ball, but what do you see as the future? Like, as you were talking with your teams and your executive staff, what does the future look like? What are you preparing for? What's that 5 to 10 year plan?
Continued growth. Yeah, just nothing, but it's hard to see an end right now. I think one of the questions that just came in was, you know, kind of the rumor that there's long periods of layoff and no work in the labor trades. I think that at one time that probably was. I mean, you know, we've talked about the past recession and did we have to do some right sizing at that time? Yeah, but I wouldn't call them layoffs or long periods of no work. And I know for us, you know, still schedules get, you know, when Sean says things change from day to day, you know, everything changes. From problem solving is kind of skill number one that you have to succeed in this, and projects get delayed. And I think there was probably a time where that crew that was supposed to go work on that project might have been laid off or, you know, sent home. But I know for us personally and everybody that I know, you find a place for them to go and you make work for the days or the weeks, whatever it is, because one, we can't afford to lose them right now, and we can't afford to lose the investment that we've made in the training. And then just because we know that what is out there and what's to come, we want those good people here on the team. So there's nothing but bright days ahead from what I can see.
To add to what Michelle's saying, I think when you're talking the next 5 to 10 years, and I'm sure everybody on the panel will agree, but technology is playing a big role in what's going to take place in the next 5 to 10 years. The way we do things in the field has changed dramatically over the last 5 or 10 years, and it's going to continue. You know, whether you're utilizing GPS, whether you utilizing building information modeling, our industry is really starting to utilize technology more and more. And we got to stay on top of that, as well as our folks in the field have to stay abreast of all this new technology. So when Dan, Michelle, and Justin and I are talking about it, it doesn't get boring. Our industry is still evolving every single day. And I think for the next 5 to 10 years, I think it's going to grow even more with technology.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, you guys, since you have been here a long time, let's talk about things that you assumed or thought about your industry, but once you were here for a while, those ideas were shattered. Like, that's not the truth here. So talk to me about that. What really changed after you joined the industry and started working within it?
I think to Dan's point, I'll just address this real quick. You know, Dan brought up, you know, people inside his organization that moved up to different levels. I think that was the biggest surprise for me, was how much opportunity was really available out there. When I first came into the industry, my goal was to become a journeyman pipe fitter welder, and then maybe a foreman. And the ultimate goal for me would maybe be a superintendent. But to Dan's point, there's so many opportunities, and there are companies out there who really truly invest in their people and build from within. And I think that was my biggest surprise, was just how many opportunities were available and how much the company is willing to give us those opportunities if you put in the time and dedication.
Yeah. Hey, Justin, let me ask you about you being in HR. Talk about some of the maybe career pathways or different job opportunities you've seen people have that maybe that's not what they came in for. Kind of like what Sean did. He moved into a totally different type of role. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, great question. And we have initiatives within border states that directly relates to that. So we try to help employee owners build out their own career path. And that comes with a bunch of different documents and supporting information to help them pick that career path within border states. So I see it every day and every week of people developing themselves in different ways, and the company's built that out so that they can do that. And I know Sean said, developing internally is a big thing. And that's what we want to do too, of, make sure we're supporting the people internally and investing in the people that we have at border states to develop their careers. So yeah, it's absolutely important. And I think going back to the opportunities, many of people have kind of switched course within border states. And obviously being on this panel too, it happens at other companies of, you might start off in one discipline and have interest in another area within the business. And there's opportunities to kind of grow and learn from those. And then you'll find yourself maybe in that other opportunity for 5-10 years, whatever it may be, and develop yourself too, going forward in your career. So definitely plenty of opportunities along those lines.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, you guys, 2020 and 2021 have been crazy. And so in many different ways, your industry, I feel like, is unique because many industries have had to kind of take a step back or halt for a little bit. And you guys haven't. In fact, I think if I'm correct in assuming this, you guys have taken off. And so at least this industry in general. And so how has COVID-19 affected business? Has it affected business? Do you have to work differently? Tell us a little bit about that.
I'd like to jump on that one if I could. I think coming into 2020, we had a great backlog. And when the pandemic hit, we did not know what to do, nor did anybody, right? And I think what's so awesome about our people and people just in general in this industry is that we all tend to pull together and help each other figure out solutions. And so I would say within 30 days, we figured out how to manage the virus. We do testing at our office on Tuesdays and Fridays. We got all the information to our employees with the Family First Act and different things like that. And we did go through a period of time where projects, stopped and then potentially even got shelved. But none of our people missed any work. Everybody got 40+ hours. And that was because we were very aggressive and said, okay, we have a lot of great people. We don't want to lose them. So we need to get out there and get some work. So we took some work, probably a little cheaper than we normally do, just to keep guys working. And we went right through that. And then 2 to 3 months later, all that work that was shelved came back. And then we were hiring. So actually 2020 was one of our best years, revenue-wise, profit-wise. And it really, we just kind of came together and we adapted. And I think also one of the biggest things is that, we were considered essential. And the fact that we were considered essential and we were not shut down helped immensely. I know that was not the case in other states. And, so we're fortunate to be in Arizona, and we were fortunate to be considered essential. And I think because of that, we just managed it and got through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest areas that became a challenge was some of the stuff we've talked about with the training and, kind of the employee focused efforts. I know one of the reasons, ways that we got through it successfully with our current team is because of all the work that we've done on training and communication and really team building. And so we could kind of switch to virtual communication and still maintain a lot of the same connectedness that we had built over the years. But hiring, because we were still not just kind of limping along, but we were actively hiring and growing during this time. How do you hire virtually? How do you onboard? How do you do orientation? How do you really get people connected? So for us, that was kind of one of the biggest areas of challenge was how do you keep growing and expanding during this time? But we figured it out, and like Sean said, with technology, it's such a part of everything that we do. And if one of the good things I think that came from 2020 is it forced us to start implementing a lot of things that we hadn't done before, just to be able to make it through and continue to take advantage of opportunities.
At border states, oh, sorry, Jessica. At border states too, one thing that really the pandemic has impacted us as far as like a workforce is working from home, which I'm assuming a lot of companies have done the same, but we really wanted to ensure the safety of our employee owners and also do our part as an organization to reduce the spread. So I mean, just the flexibility that border states has kind of opened up to since the pandemic has been great. And I foresee that happening more in the future, that we've proven it's successful. People are still productive, if not more productive from home sometimes. So I think that's a big thing that our workforce has been open to and has been enjoying since the pandemic started too.
Yeah, so basically the construction, skilled crafts area has been affected just like all other industries as far as trying to keep their employees safe, figuring out ways to work from home, figuring out ways to work for employees to work on site, but to be safe. So you guys have done the same thing. And I want people to understand that this is a true career industry. It's an industry where you can have a great job, people are cared for, and you can do pretty well financially as well. All right, let's talk about your hot jobs. And so I want each of you just to take a minute here as we're closing up with this panel to talk about some of the hot jobs you have, both in the skilled trade side and the professional side, either entry level all the way through executive, whatever hot jobs you have. And while we close this out. So Michelle, would you like to start us?
Sure. So just again, to play on the technology thing, we're actively hiring IT people right now. That's one of our biggest areas of need to be able to continue to grow is harnessing technology. And then in the field, it's operators, welders, laborers, drivers, mechanics, kind of the gamut of we're not overstaffed in any area of trades, that's for sure.
Great, thank you, Sean.
Yeah, I'd echo Michelle. It's the big numbers, right? The heavy equipment operators, the pipe fitters, welders. With all the work that's coming into the Valley, with the jobs that Dan talked about with Intel and TMSC and all the vendors that'll be coming in, we are looking right now, but we'll be blowing up here in the next few months. Nothing's off the table as far as what we need, to Michelle's point, whether it be HR, IT, marketing from the administrative side. So visit all of our websites, all the panels. We have our job boards up there, and do some research about the companies, and you'll find a good home.
That's great. Good point, Sean. Well, each of you panelists, when we're done here, drop in your direct link to your career site, or if you don't have a career site, your website, wherever people would start to search for jobs. That would be very helpful. Thanks, Sean. Justin, how about you?
Yeah, so we're actively searching. I think we have about 3 or 4 warehouse associates openings in our Phoenix location, which is a great start to get your foot in the door and learn about the electrical distribution industry and about the products we sell and things like that. In addition to that, we do have a project manager role open now. So if you're good at balancing different objectives and communication, both via email and phone and things like that, we'd love to hear from you and see if you're a good fit for that role too.
Great. And Dan?
Yeah, and just echo what Sean said. I think, we're always looking for great people, but in about a month to 2 months, it's just going to explode. And I think at that time, we're probably going to be adding quite a few craft positions. And then when we add craft positions, typically some administrative positions come into play as well. So I'll put our website in there, but I encourage people to just kind of research the company, research our website. And to Sean's point, you know, if you're considering entering the trade, just go and look at all the different contractors and aspects. Go to Build Your Future, and we have a little career pathing module that can help you determine what suits you the best. And then just interview and look at companies, you know, and find the right one, and I'm sure they'll help you succeed.
Awesome. Well, you guys have been fantastic, really helping us understand the industry and what's available. And there's just so many opportunities. And so thank each of you for being here. Fantastic job. And I know you are dropping in your URLs. Their LinkedIn links are in there as well if you guys want to connect with them. Thank you so much for being here today and being part of the sponsoring of this panel.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so awesome first panel. We are going to now move on over to our second panel. And in this panel, we're really going to talk about the transferable skills, career pathways. So first panel was a lot around misconceptions and job opportunities, but this one, we're going to talk a lot about transferable skills. The audience that we talk to a lot are in various industries, and they're wanting to know if they are looking for another industry to join, what are the benefits of that industry? Do they have career pathways and great opportunities? So we're going to talk about that today. So to welcome each of our next panelists, I'd like to introduce you to Michelle Ballou. She is the Phoenix Operations Manager for Border States. We have Ted Rarick. He is a partner for Constructors Bonding Incorporated.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Jeff Hammond is the Workforce Development Manager for Corbin's Electric. And then we have our friend Paul Sanders. He is the Workforce Development Director for Build Your Future, which is part of the Greater Phoenix Chamber. So welcome to the four of you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
We are so excited to have each of you here today and having our second panel. So what I would like to start with is the same question we started with on our first panel, is kind of give us a 1 or 2 minute overview of your company and what you like best about your company and culture. So Michelle, you want to get us started? Oh, you are still on mute, my friend.
You want me to start off here, Jessica?
Yeah, that'd be great.
My name is Ted Rarick. I'm partner here at Constructors Bonding. We're a specialty surety agency that serves the whole country. It's somewhat international, a huge presence in Arizona. We provide what's called surety bonds to many industries, but construction industry is a huge one of that. Primarily what you see in the industry is bid bonds, performance bonds, payment bonds, and development type bonds. Our firm is the oldest and largest in the state, and my partners and I are all former surety managers for large surety companies. So what we do is we work with contractors, help them get postured to either get the strongest bonding where they are now, or if they're in a growth mode, work with them to posture them for future bonding and strong bonding. So the surety world's kind of a mystery if you haven't been into it. So we help them with that learning curve. But for contractors that have to bond, it's a vital part of their backlog. So our role is to work with them. And then typically after the relationship develops, it becomes less about bonding and just discussing business issues and as they grow. And, you know, we've looked at thousands of contractors over our tenure, so we're able to share a lot of experience of what we've seen work and what doesn't work.
Awesome. Thank you, Ted. All right, Michelle, I think you're live now.
Yes. So Michelle Ballou with Border States Electric. I am the branch operations manager here at our Phoenix branch. Justin in the first panel is one of my coworkers, and he told you a little bit about us. So we are a huge part of the supply chain. Anything that the electrical industry needs, whether it is the electrician doing something to your home or on the commercial aspect, think of a factory needing all the electrical things in there, utility companies, all of the electrical things they need. We are procuring any of the things they need and getting them to the electricians to do the work. So I've been with the company for 14 years and have had a bunch of different roles, everything from in our corporate office up in Fargo to having the opportunity to move here to Phoenix.
Awesome. Michelle, where are you from?
Originally from right outside of Fargo, North Dakota.
Okay. Oh, there was the accent when you said that. That's great. All right, Jeff, how about you?
Hey, Jeff Hammond with Corbin's Electric. I'm the workforce development manager. So specifically, I work on developing our current workforce, the current Corbin's employees, as far as building skill sets. That's both our electricians and our support staff, our office staff. So we're constantly looking to build their skill set and make them the best them at what they do. Corbin's Electric is an electrical contractor in the Valley. We have about almost 700 employees right now. We do commercial and industrial electrical work throughout Arizona and New Mexico.
Fantastic. All right, Paul Sanders, why don't you tell us a little bit about Build Your Future Arizona?
Okay, great. As I mentioned a little bit in the beginning, we're a workforce collaborative initiative that was launched. It's set up here for an initial 3 years. And the whole concept is to build the talent pipeline for the construction and skilled craft industry. There's a demand of, by the end of December 2022, of over 200,000 skilled craft and construction jobs that we're going to need to fill. Those numbers were recently updated, and the good news about that, and the bad news, is that number went from 155 to that over 200,000 number. The good news is that happened because a lot of the projects that were kind of waiting and we weren't sure where things were going in regard to COVID have now been identified. So that demand has really increased because much of our commercial sector and construction was just kind of on hold, right? Projects sort of not really stopped in midstream, but everything that was in that pipeline, people weren't sure what was going to be happening. But a lot of confidence is in there now. And of course, that took us a jump of, almost 50,000 more jobs that are going to be needed by the end of 2022. So our goal at Build Your Future is filling that pipeline. We work with industries that and companies that you see here represented on the panel. There's 58 different investors with our organization because they recognize the initiative to build that pipeline is so crucial. We know that it's something that's not instantaneous. Dan serves on our steering committee, and as well as and so does Sean. And then of course we have a representative from Corbin's on that steering committee. And they've seen the progress we've made, which is great, but we're still chipping away at it, right? Trying to bust down those misconceptions and really help people see where the opportunities are, both starting a brand new career as well as transferring skills, which is what we'll talk a little bit about today.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And that's a great entryway because the first thing I want to really dive into is that transferable skill area. So we have people on the line today, people that'll hear this call later that don't have experience in the construction industry, but they may be very interested in it, especially with the growth and excitement of what's to come and the impact you make in people's lives. And so what skills, what kind of transferable skills would be, or what you guys are looking for to transfer into your organization? Jeff, you want to start?
Sure. So, the skills aren't anything unique of any employer that we're necessarily looking for as if you're starting as an entry-level electrician or something like that. We're looking for a critical thinker, someone who is willing to work hard and put in the effort, and we'll fuel that fire. If they have some of those critical skills, we have the opportunity to grow as fast and as big as you want to make it. And so, some of those key core characteristics that we all look for as employers is what we're looking for, and we can help groom you to what you find successful, at the personal level.
Awesome. Good. Who else? Michelle?
Yeah, I would agree. Just that the willingness to learn. One of the hardest things we have a problem with the training is to learn about the products that we're selling. So in our warehouse, we have over 10,000 SKUs that we stock. And we're working with the people like Dan and Jeff at their companies, and my customer service representatives are trying to help them problem solve, and they need to learn about these products. Well, you take someone who has been an electrician, and maybe there is a reason why they're no longer in the field and they're looking for something else. That is something I can use as a working at my city desk, or as a customer service representative, one of our quotation specialists, our project managers. All of those kinds of things can transfer into that, along with just the skills you would need to be a customer service representative, that attention to detail needed to be a project manager, even moving on into our account manager roles, the sales roles, any of the things that you would need there. And then I look at myself in my own job, from the operations standpoint, that is transferable from any other industry where you've done operations. Things like logistics, from our whole warehouse point of view, you've got the logistics people, the supervising of the warehouse. All of those kinds of things can transfer in.
I love that, Michelle. You just named like 4 or 5 careers that people wouldn't normally think about in this industry. Awesome. Great job. Let's talk about that a little bit. Ted, did you have something you wanted to add on there?
Well, I've had the benefit over decades of seeing very, very large contractors down through the whole supply chain. And the themes I see keep popping up, or what you're hearing here, is that, all these companies, they're hungry for someone that has a good work ethic, that has some ability to organize their skill set. I get calls maybe once a week or a couple times a month from my clients. Hey, do you know anyone that has any accounting skills whatsoever? We can train them here. I have accountants and bookkeeping firms call me. Do you have anyone that has any kind of accounting abilities? I have people say, hey, my contractors or suppliers or anything. I like to kind of use the analogy like a military operation. The front line is like the project sites, okay? But that's just the tip of the iceberg of the efforts that go into that. And so when I'm talking to people in the construction industry, you're right. They say, well, I don't want to be out there digging ditches when it's 120 degrees. Then you just start saying, hey, listen, if you started right out of high school and you started whatever, if you're aggressive, if you're hungry and you have a good work ethic and you really want to learn, this field will probably advance you more rapidly than the majority of the fields out there. And so they can go in so many different ways. And even if they feel like, a lot of people say, well, I don't have any skill set. Well, they probably have some inherent skill sets. If you have a work ethic, I bet you anyone here on this panel and anyone here in this group would take them in, kind of analyze where they're at and say, hey, I'll train you in something. And that's just kind of, the way I see it from my view here.
Yeah.
Jessica, one bit I like to share, I know you've got another question you want to ask here, but you talk about transferable skills. And I'm not sure if Jeff's aware of this, but there was a young man who has had probably, I would say, 12 or 15 years work experience. He had done a little bit of work in a specialty thing in the military, but wound up working for a company running network cable, right? And then he left from that industry and went into a completely different sector. And then most recently had been working as a coach or advocate through the VA system. But he had seen something about Build Your Future, right? And he thought, man, I wonder if there might be something for me in construction. And as he and I talked, we connected him with Corbin's, and he just started there 2 weeks ago, right? On a completely different career, right? He's had nothing to do with the electrical world before, but he had some experience and transferable skills that made it dovetail in. Now, and obviously, Corbin's, they are a serious company. So it's not like, oh, we're just going to take this guy. He had to get through their whole vetting process and interviewing process. So I was really excited because I literally got his text this morning about that. And he's been over there for 2 weeks. So just another example, right, of how you have previous skills that can definitely transfer over into these industries.
Yeah. And I love that, There's so many people right now that are just looking for jobs. And good news is unemployment is coming down. And so people are getting back to work, but there are some industries that were hit pretty hard, hospitality, travel, that kind of stuff. But if you look at your transferable skills, what do you have that can transfer into this industry? And all the ones you guys just talked about are ones people you can have. That most people will have in some capacity if they work hard. You know, they're loyal, they're committed, they can manage multiple things. Those kind of things you can transfer into your industry. So that is awesome. Let's talk about established career paths. So if people come into your organization, is there a pathway established? Do they own their own pathways? What does that look like? I'd like to start.
I'll go.
Okay, let's go with Michelle.
Yep.
Start with you.
So I would say the old traditional pathway would have been to typically come in as a warehouse associate, work your way up to our city desk, work the counter, and then a CSR and onto an account manager would have been old school. Now you can skip a step. We are also a regional office. You may go into something with our regional operations or purchasing or some of our other groups. Sky's the limit. It really is. Get in, figure it out, find out what the whole thing is about, and then from there, we'll make a path.
Awesome. Jeff, what about you?
That's some great comments. You know, in our previous session, they made some comments there as well that if you can bring in those core skill sets, we can fuel, to get you and train you in-house, whether apprenticeship or in-house training or whatever, to refine and build those skills. And like Michelle was talking about, that maybe you skip steps. Paul shared basically my story there, right? I came with a different background and now I'm in the construction field. That's not what I went to school for. That's not what I thought I'd be doing. Absolutely love it. And the sky's the limit and where I can progress in an electrical contractor where I never would have thought,
That's great. Yeah, Ted, what do you have?
We kind of have a sub niche. I mean, most people that get into the surety world don't even know what surety was or can't even pronounce it. But it's just you kind of get into it and people kind of fall in love with it because if you take it seriously and get good at it, it's pretty rewarding. So typically the way it comes through is you'd start with a surety company or a bond company and you kind of get trained in the surety world. And then you either go up through the surety company ranks, or some people will opt to go out into the agency side and then work with contractors direct. That was kind of my path. I worked my way up and was a surety manager and managed a pretty large operation here in this region of the country, and then went out and started my own shop, and I've been doing this for a couple decades. Also on the insurance side, that's a lot of people just kind of get in insurance and then they kind of gravitate to an industry they like. Same thing with benefits or anything related to that. But like I said, and we keep talking about these transferable skills. I think a lot of them are generic. And people coming out of high school now, if they're not really focused and don't know what they want to do, most of the industries they go into are probably not going to be rewarding and probably aren't going to be stable. And, why pick up 6 figures of debt? It's nice to go have go cram your 4-year degree in 5 years and pay 150 grand, but not know what you want to do. And then you have a debt to pay, or just get into something. I mean, go work in the field. And if you want management, you can work your way through, or you might say, hey, I love the field, and you can manage the field, or get into one of the related fields. I think we just need to really make construction industry be a much bigger window that people see to enter into, and then let them see the various ways they can go.
Yeah, and I want to talk about something that keeps coming up in the comments. So internships, apprenticeships, and military. Do you guys have programs in those areas to support either transitioning military through Skill Bridge, or do you have apprenticeships or internships? Let's talk about that. Jeff, you want to start?
Sure. Yes, we have all three. So internships, we do have internships right now, generally focused on our office staff. For example, a project engineer, so that's kind of the entry level to a project manager, where you're managing, projects and kind of the financial health of a project. So we do have some of those. Generally, those are kind of the construction degree, those who are pursuing that. Not always, but that's the general audience. Like Dan, in our previous session, we have an apprenticeship that we are actively participating in. So that's your entry level. You want to become an electrician in the 4 years, like was talked about in the last session. So that's almost all companies will pay you while you go to school, as far as you're earning a paycheck and earning an education on the company dime. And those vary as far as, how they're constructed, but overall it's a 4-year program, and you turn out as a journeyman, like was talked about in last session. I'm a veteran out of the military, and so very familiar, as Paul kind of briefly shared. That was almost my story. I was in the military and utilized some of my GI opportunities to pay for that degree that I thought I had to have. And it's benefited me a lot. I had a buddy who worked at Corbin's, and so after I got out of the military, I was looking for a job, and and he hired me, and I started as a project engineer because I was a project manager-like position in the military, running soldiers and projects, and so we thought, oh, that's pretty close. But I got a degree in education, and so a year into the job at Corbin's, I said, I'd love to help train people because it's a passion I have and an ability I have. So I created a whole department from it, and that's where we're at now. We have a specific training department with, 6 full-time career developers and curriculum designers, like Michelle talked about last session. We're absolutely excited as an industry to help people get the skills that they need, and most of the time we're paying for it, unlike maybe your traditional college route.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you, Paul, does Build Your Future incorporate apprentices, internships, military, anything around that area?
Yes, we've got a couple of different things. We partner with a national organization, NCCER. Sean's also involved with this group. It's focused on the construction industry, and they have a complete section nationally for veterans. So it's designed to connect veterans with training opportunities as well as employment opportunities. And then in regard to apprenticeships, as I mentioned, we have 58 investors that are a part of Build Your Future. And we have a career center that scrapes their websites, every night. And what we do is that updates us constantly. And I was just going to go live and look this up right now for you so that we knew how many we currently have here. We have anywhere from 10 to 20 apprenticeships at a given time. And right now we have 20 as of this morning that are on the site. And these are all designed specifically with the option to get someone started in that industry. And there's apprenticeships here in regard to electrical. We have some apprenticeships for plumbing. And when we say these things, this is not, oh, I'm unclogging someone's toilet, right? When we say plumbing, we're talking about the true structure of what's going into new homes, commercial buildings, right? Whether that's connecting the groundwork with that or the interior that's required for those. So yes, we have those specifically that are designed to get people started in the career and get them the training, right? I love it that it's on the company's dime, as they said. That's the beauty, right? You're getting, we use the phrase earn while you learn, And it's interesting, so many folks that are in a transition right now could have been making anywhere between $35,000 and $45,000. And many of these apprenticeship programs can fall right along those lines. And then upon completion, and I'm sure, Jeff can answer better to this and the other people on the panel, those salaries can jump 5,000 or more, depending on when somebody's, converted over to what they would refer to as a journeyman. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Fantastic. So I'm looking at our chat, and Barbara mentioned, she has quite a few years in customer service. And she said, are there opportunities for people that are in that field, in office, in administration type jobs? What are your thoughts on that, you guys?
I'll share something really quick and then I'll let the other ones jump in because I know they all have sectors of this. The Career Center that I just mentioned, I did that search when Barbara put her question up. There are 134 Arizona jobs on our Career Center right now that are connected to customer service.
Well, okay. There you go.
What Paul
But
said.
I'd love to let Michelle and even Jeff, because I know that all of them, you know, they impact, there's customer service related to their companies.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I have guys who take orders all day long and do all of the follow-up that goes with that. And I say guys as a general term, guys and gals, as well as project managers who really the guts of a project manager from the distribution side is you are the lifeline for our contractors on the other side. You are keeping everything going behind the scenes, that organizational skills, working both the customer and our supplier side of everything. It is 100% customer service. That is what we are here. We're here to make everything seamless for the contractor.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the best ways to get started with your company. So what are kind of some of the entry points? Either entry, you know, starting out maybe as an apprentice or an internship, but also when people are looking to transfer, would you hire somebody from a semiconductor industry into an HR role as long as they have HR experience? Like, talk about some of those entry points. Who'd like to start here? Ted, you want to go?
Well, like I said, my industry is pretty sub-niched, but usually sometimes I'll have people call me that are from a different industry and they're looking to make a change, and I kind of listen to them and see kind of what their background is and what their interest level is. And then, you know, if it looks like it's construction oriented, I'll connect them with one of my clients, say, hey, I have this person, they're looking to make a change. You know, would they fit into so-and-so? Generically, it's all about the same, you know, with the different types of companies, or even within the supply chain. Boy, the supply chain has all different types of people that can fit in. So with our industry specifically, like coming in our agency, you know, you're pretty well skilled at what you do. In the surety world, they'll add them. But as far as really broad-based, the supply chain is huge as far as what they're looking for, the transferable type. I don't know if that really answers your question, but that's kind of what I'll do is transfer them to someone in the supply chain, or I'll call one of my clients and say, this person's looking to do it. Do you have an interest in them, or do you know someone who could, you know, use them?
And Ted, would you just take a minute and explain surety to us?
Okay, I'll try.
Okay.
Okay, surety is not insurance. Surety is basically, it's called bonding. Most common terms you hear is performance and payment bonds. And when we put a bond up to guarantee a project, it's a bond saying that the contractor will fulfill the contract per the terms. And if they're unable or unwilling to do it, the bond company will step in and finish it. It's kind of like similar to a letter of credit, or even an easier thing to imagine is a corporate cosigner. Obviously, if a contractor is doing $100 million or $50 million worth of work, or even 10 million, they can't put that cash up themselves to back that. So that's why you have a corporate surety that has a large balance sheet. So what we do is we work with contractors, determine how much bonding we need, and then help posture them in that, because it's basically unsecured credit. So it's a financial guarantee. Public projects require bonding, and then some private projects require it. And then subcontractors have to provide it to general contractors, depending on what the terms are of the general contractor doing. And there's other types of bonds too. But it's kind of a financial guarantee.
Well, what I love about you being here today is helping people understand that when there's one idea, when we say construction, people have one idea of what that means. And the breadth and depth of opportunity within this industry is very, very large. And you are one example of an option, a different area, but is fully construction. And so you say, what industry am I in? Well, I'm in the construction industry, but nothing like what somebody would think of.
No, and like I said, we've been doing this a long time. We're very serious about the construction industry. We've benefited greatly from it. And that's why when we saw this program, Build Your Future, coming together, I talked to the partners and said, we got to be a part of this because this is what we do. And it's, we've been kicking this can down the road for decades, and we go through these different cycles. But especially now with, the economy and just the way I see people coming into the business world and their mindset, I think now more than ever, it just makes so much more sense to consider construction as a way to go, because I see so much dissatisfaction with people, coming out of high school and maybe not going to college and going to something, or going to college and spending just a ton of money and coming out and getting, a $12 an hour job, and they're miserable. And it's like, why? It's like, all I know is I have seen people blossom with my clients when they come in and they're kind of a diamond in the rough. And all of a sudden, man, they identify them and they start grooming this person, him or her. And it's just so neat to see that happen and become an integral part of their operation. And I don't know, but that's why we're really behind this, because construction world is just a huge industry. And I think we have to offset the bias that's going on with career development, like in high school level. I've talked to some of the people pushing them to coding or going to do this or do that. And I think that's what we have to battle, is that stigma that they shouldn't, construction is a last resort. Now, I think it should be right up there as one of the first choices they pick, in my opinion.
It's interesting. I have one boy in college, but my daughter is going into high school. And so we're starting this conversation around what she wants to do. She's probably not a college kid. She might go, if she wants to. But last week, we were in Florida on vacation, and we went over this huge bridge. It was huge. And she's like, how do they do that? And so we got into a really good conversation about how talented, brilliant, and skilled people are that think about this stuff, that design it. Then we were at Universal Studios, and like the design of the Harry Potter tower, I don't even know what it's called because I'm not a Harry Potter fan, but that was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't get enough of it. And she was just taken by it. And I'm like, that is when you start conversations with kids about, is that something you want to impact? Is that something you would think you would enjoy? Because that's out there and it's available to you.
And if I could just respond real quick, I don't want to take too much time, but I saw a little comment there about, layoffs when we go into, cycles. I say it's like any other industry. If you come in and you want to be good at what you're good at, and you work hard, you're going to be held on to as long as possible. And I guarantee you, if you go into a call center and all of a sudden that industry gets obsolete, you're gone in a day and don't even know it. So I'm saying it's like there's nowhere you can go where you're guaranteed a job for life. That just doesn't happen anymore. So what I'm saying is, in construction, yes, is there contractions in the industry? Absolutely. And this one will come just like they've always come before. But if you're really good and you're smart and you understand this is a business and you prepare for it, you're going to be one of the survivors. And I think this industry is easier to become a survivor if you're smart about it versus other industries that overnight you could be wiped out, because we're either going to have to build new stuff or replace the stuff that we've built in the past. That's always going to happen for the rest of our lives.
Absolutely. All right. So as we're finishing up this panel, let's talk about some hot jobs that you guys have. So Michelle, why don't you get us started with, what are some hot jobs you guys are looking to hire for right now?
Justin covered ours earlier. So today we have warehouse associate positions open, as well as a project manager position. But even in our industry, I just want to put it out there, the data shows we are going to have people retiring in the upcoming years. And so there is always something coming open because of that. And the sooner you get in, the sooner we get you trained and you're on to the next level up. So just keep that in mind.
That's awesome. Thanks, Michelle. Jeff, what do you guys have?
Sure. Well, electricians obviously is a big one, right? We talked a little bit about that. I like the comment that Michelle made in the last session, though. As we're all growing, there's an infrastructure behind that. Ted used the analogy earlier of the Army. Well, yeah, you think of the construction industry generally, and you think of that soldier on the front line in the ditch, digging, you know, and laboring. But there's the people in the back line, you know, there's the IT professionals, there's the finance, there's HR, there's all of the supportive roles that make us who we are and support those field soldiers. You know, and so some hot jobs for us are IT based, like Michelle had alluded to. We're specifically hiring, I would say, at least 100 virtual construction designers today.
Wow.
And so what that is that you're building it digitally. It's the new version of CAD. You know, they talked about it in the last session in BIM modeling, and you're building it digitally so that we can go execute the actual boots on the ground and get it built. But that's exploding throughout construction. At any company, they need that ability. That's a huge job for us right now. Project engineers is another one. That's kind of your entry level. You're managing projects on the financial side and making sure you meet deadlines and stay under budget, and you're purchasing the right amount of material, and you know you're financially keeping the job healthy. And so all of those are kind of our big three right now.
Awesome. Ted, do you have anything to add about positions?
I mean, generally, like in our world, it takes a long time to get experience and season to analyze risk and help people out. And the surety world had a big gap there for a while where they weren't really adding people. And so we have an aging type of workforce too. And so anyone getting into the surety world, if they work pretty hard at some point, there's gaps coming up with upper levels in our industry too. So we're like a lot of others, we have an aging workforce. And in our world, you don't become proficient in a week or two. It's years and sometimes decades. So we have a gap coming also.
Awesome.
You know, Jessica, just popping through again, searching some stuff on our site. We have 15 positions that are listed right now that are related to finance. We have 18 positions that are listed relating to HR. We have 160 project manager positions, right? So when you think about, again, these skills, this is stuff that leads people right over. That's not counting what we already talked about, you know, Michelle, with border states here. And I didn't even include the Corbin's team that's with that. So I think, again, it's that misconception that people are not understanding. They're here for you folks. And I like what you said, though, too. We talked about jobs versus careers. And I think a lot of people misconstrue that. They think of a construction thing as a job. But as we talked about, this is a career.
Absolutely. Well, we want to thank all of the panelists, the four of you, the four that came before. So everyone, how about a virtual round of applause for our awesome panelists? You guys, we really appreciate getting to know you and hear about the excitement in your industry. Oh, that's what we need to do, the little clap, Paul. Good.
Yep.
Love it. All right. Thank you for being here today, you guys. I am going to give the floor to Paul for a few more minutes to talk through the Build Your Future program and what they have available for you. So Paul, it's all you.
Okay, great. You know, I've been harping about our Career Center, which I would love to have everybody go to. I put a couple links in there, and I'll do that again for you so you know how to find us and what you can look for opportunities. You know, Jessica talked about career paths. One thing that we've got that's designed, and Michelle, I don't know if we have the capability for this. Do you have the ability that I'm able to share my screen for a moment? Sheila, I'm sorry, Sheila, excuse me.
I'm not.
Is that possible or no?
Probably.
Yeah, I have a share my screen option, so.
I don't know.
Do you mind if I do that, or will that derail her? You're okay?
Go ahead and
Let's
try.
do this here. All right, let's share this here.
You had to take hers off.
Okay, so are you seeing it now?
There we go. We got it.
Beautiful. Okay, so this is the career path section. When you're at the Build Your Future site, you can make that selection here as you see. But I wanted you to see where it crosses over here. And we literally take it from as low as middle school because we have some folks where we would approach at that. But anywhere where you're at, if you look at this this line where we've got university, college, and industry apprentice, this kind of equates the level of where people would be on a general career path that's involved here. And then the beauty that you're looking at, depending on with your university degree that you may already have, and you've heard this from the other panelists, these are the areas where you can be moving into, right? Depending on what the experience level that's here. And then the other part is that, you know, you heard about some folks that started out in the industry, and even Sean had mentioned this about going back to school. They'll move their way along, but in order to get up to this site superintendent or construction manager position, they have to have some other education that's coming back in. So there are programs out there, specifically Mesa Community College offers a construction management program. They have seen such an increase, and they've been a part of Build Your Future now for 18 months. They were taking on 500 students every semester. The demand has gotten so big that they had to take on up to 750 now. They had to find more space on the Mesa Community College campus to host this volume of students. So this gives you just an example of what's happening here within this industry, the career opportunities and the paths that can go on. And that's really what we try to emphasize with anybody that we're talking to, young people or experienced folks, is there are specific career paths. This is not designed to be a dead-end career. You can be happy with where you're at, right? And that's okay, because we need everybody at those worker levels, the various stages in the project, but we want to break that myth that you're stuck somewhere, right? That's the concept. I think of my relatives who were in construction. I had uncles that, you know, laid block until they were 65 years old. I had another uncle who was laying carpet at 70, right? But they didn't choose to move along in those careers. And I think there's a misconception, and we want to break that myth. The final thing that I'd love to share with you about Build Your Future is we have ways to get you connected, not only through the Career Center, but you're welcome to complete some interest forms with us, and we can talk you through about some training, particularly if you're looking at a career transition, and try to connect you with some of the most cost-effective ways that are in that. And as we said, many of these companies will bring you on and do the training where there's no cost out of yours. You're earning while you're learning. So I'll invite you to, and I'll put a link in the chat here if you'd like to complete an interest form for us to follow up individually with you to help out. And that's kind of a recap of our program as from what I've described a little earlier. Jessica, I'll turn it back to you for our next steps.
Awesome. Thank you so much. There's just so much opportunity. And so I love that you shared that graphic right there. I even know so many business owners that are in the construction industry and that have launched businesses. Dan, as an example, founder and CEO of his electric company, and they're a large company now, and they're serving our Arizona. And so many great opportunities. All right, so if you are, we are gonna be breaking off into breakout sessions. So hang tight, let me wrap us up here. And then if you would like any one-on-one time with any of our speakers today, we're gonna allow that to happen in a few minutes. And so if you have any feedback for us, was this panel helpful? Is there anything different you'd like to see? Are there other panels, other industries you would like us to feature? Please send us an email at contact@careerconnectors.org. We're taking your feedback there, and we do take it seriously, and we are really interested in it. And then I just want to say thank you to our partners that help make this program happen all around, not only Phoenix, but now virtually. We have people all over the United States joining our events. So thank you, partners, for working with us this year and making things happen. All right. I'm going to jump over to our resources now. bestcompaniesaz.com has some resources for you in their bestcompaniesaz.com/resources page. You can take a look on there. But also, we have some resources for you. The DISC assessment is something that we talk about every month, and you can take the DISC assessment at no cost. And this will tell you about your work style. It'll tell you about some of your strengths. And so some of the things they were talking about today, you can look to see, hey, are those legitimate strengths of mine? They'll be embedded in your DISC assessment. Also, we have a recap blog. Today we have somebody that's blogging, working on it, the event, and we will post that. Usually takes about 2 days to get it formatted and posted, and it will be on our event recap page, as well as the full event webinar that we have today. You can see us and get a hold of us on any of the social media platforms. We are very active on LinkedIn and the LinkedIn group. And so that's a great one if you'd like to connect with us or ask questions, or we can engage with you there. All right, so we have some really great events coming. We have Freedom Financial Network, Hawaiian Airlines, Community Medical Services, and Logicalis as our hiring companies that day. And then on April 22nd, you're going to hear from Brenda Cunningham, who is phenomenal, talk about how to use LinkedIn in 15 minutes a day. That's all you need. Don't get overwhelmed. We have Taros Health, Mobile Mini, Liberty Mutual, and WealthWave hiring companies that day. And then on Thursday, May 6th, Clara Chorley is back. The Career Success Formula, 4 stages of optimal job seeking success. And that day we have APN Staffing, Microchip, Iris USA and WealthWave as our hiring companies that day. So you can get any of these, register for any of these events on our website at careerconnectors.org. Also, if you would like a new profile picture for your LinkedIn profile, when we're live, we typically have a professional photographer on site to do this for you. Obviously, we're not doing live events right now. Hopefully, we will bring them back soon. But we have this awesome photographer, Gordon Murray, with Flash Photo, and he is traveling around Phoenix offering no-cost headshots. And so you can get, and he's doing a phenomenal job, by the way. We've seen a lot of people post their business portraits, go to him, and they really appreciate his style and the way he works with them. So you can see the lineup there. Let's see, we're March 31st, he's in Northwest Phoenix. That's next one, but he's gonna be in Tempe, Litchfield Park, Chandler, and he's all around. So I encourage you to sign up. Doesn't cost anything. He does take donations if you'd like to give him a donation, but no pressure there. All right, so sign up for our upcoming events on careerconnectors.org. Also, this event today can be found right on our homepage, and you'll see the 3 buckets there: career chat, community update, and webinars. This will be posted right in webinars later today. So you can go back and reference anything you would like from the event. I have dropped in a couple chats lately, specifically about the stimulus package was one. We talked about this event, that's in there as well. And then we do some community updates. So a lot of content in there if you're looking for some additional guidance on your job search. And I want to thank our volunteers. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and I just want to thank all the volunteers in the background, volunteers that serve and make this program happen. So all of you that are here today, thank you so much. And thank you for helping us with this. Again, my virtual clap, yay! I can't wait till I can hug you all again and to really say thank you. But thank you for being here. Thank you for serving so diligently. If you are interested in helping serve, we are looking for more blog writers. So more people that can take notes and blog during our event. It's not as scary as it sounds, but anyone who kind of has a little gift for writing, we would love to have your help and support. So contact Sheila at careerconnectors.org and we will get you started. Now, as I mentioned, we are a 501c3. So if you, when you do land your next great job, if you feel so inclined, we would really appreciate a gift back to the organization. We were really excited to be able to provide services this year, in a year we didn't know how long we would be around. And so it was because of your awesome, generous donations. We made it. And so thank you so much. And so you may go to this page when you are ready and give back. We would appreciate that. All right, so what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna drop off here in a second. Sheila Coulomb is gonna come on, and then she is going to open our breakout rooms and walk you through that process. We are so glad you all joined us today. I hope you learned something new. I hope you found maybe a possible next step. Thank you to all of our speakers. And I just wanna say, we are praying for all of you that you land into the career of your dreams. Thank you so much for being here today.